with the conversation. Now, when we speak of things in regards to sex, there are things that come up such as HIV and AIDS. And this morning, there are a group of men that are doing something to help with the fight against AIDS. I am Rita Kanya, and I am joined by Malaki Villa Odera, and we are not alone.
Right, we're not alone. We're joined by Mr. Muhanji Moses. He is the president of the Uganda Boxing Federation. Welcome to the show.
Yeah, thank you.
You're welcome. Also next to him we have Mr. Trouble, that name. Trouble Chikoko. He is the the team is laughing behind the scenes. You are actually the investment and efficiency advisor at UNAIDS. Welcome to the show. Now, we did have a hot conversation just before we got into this particular segment, and there's a push to decriminalize prostitution now that we can never separate the conversation of prostitution and HIV and AIDS. What are your views, Mr. Chikoko?
Thank you very much. So I'm very happy to be here. Decriminalization of sex work. Yes. We're looking at it from human rights and public health view. You know, HIV and sex workers are at a very high risk of contracting HIV. And also because they interface with a number of clients, they are also able to transmit HIV to others. So what we are focusing on is the ability to reach sex workers with HIV services so that we can prevent them from getting HIV, but at the same time also prevent them from transmitting HIV to their clients. So one way to do that is, of course, decriminalization, to ensure that they are able to get the services required, and also to reduce the stigma around reduce the stigma around sex work, so that they're able to come out and access the services that are already provided out there.
So what you're saying is that whether we decriminalize it or not, sex work will still continue?
Yes, sex work will still continue, either underground or in one form or another. But the important thing is to ensure that they get the required services, so that for those that voluntarily make the choice to be in sex work, they are protected from HIV.
If a personnel from UNAIDS says it, who are we? Your view on this?
I mean, like, because I was watching the program earlier, and you said 90% of the sex workers, they seem to be people from the less privileged communities, and then these are the same people that are fans of boxing, the same people that are doing boxing. They are their boyfriends, their brothers, their sisters. So now this is how boxing comes in, because boxing is a popular sport in those ghetto communities. So now if a sex worker has HIV, her chances that they're going to expose to the same communities. Now the only way to reach out to them is through boxing, because boxing brings them together, they become big numbers, so you can communicate to their champions, their local champions, and then their fellow community members. So that's how boxing comes in, and we're doing so much towards that line because we're able to have championships around the communities, and then we use the same championships to compete these guys. So how UNAIDS comes in is to support us, because we don't always have this kind of resources, and then somehow we make a partnership that ends up doing what we're doing right now.
Okay, so Mr. Moses, as we talk about using sports to actually be a part of the fight against HIV and AIDS, we're particularly talking about boxing. What programs do you have exactly? Because one would wonder, boxing, HIV and AIDS. Are you talking to these people? Are you boxing it out of their mentalities?
So what is happening is we always have so many championships. Those that are for people that are not going to school, like outgoing school people, and then so those in schools. So what happens is whenever we have a championship, boxers come into play. Then first, there's also high risk of exposure because we are fighting. There's blood all over the place. You're sharing issues here and there. So we communicate to the athletes first of all that you need to take care of yourself. Know about HIV, know your status, know how to go about it. If you're infected, how do you seek attention? How do you get treatment? How do you get care, and all these things. Now, beyond the athletes, then you go to the communities. It's the same thing. You're talking about the same issues. If you are infected with HIV virus, how do you go about it as a community? Because if you go around town, go to places like Kamocha, Boise, they are not privy to this kind of information. They want to this kind of programs. They don't have that confidence. They don't have the resources. They don't have the TVs and all these things. So the only way to get to them is go to where they are and with someone that can bring them together. And that's how we're doing it.
All right. Mr. Chikoko, just let us in on this one. The face of HIV and AIDS has over the years changed, and now you can hardly tell a person who has, the virus, so to speak. speak. So how bad is the situation, the current statistics as we speak, with regards to HIV and AIDS in Uganda?
Well, in Uganda, the latest statistics show that about the HIV prevalence is about 6.4%. That translates into about 1.4 million people living with HIV and AIDS. The good thing is with support of the government and development partners, we have managed to put most of those people on treatment. First, we tested them. Once they know their status, we put them on treatment. Now, for those that are able to take that treatment, thanks again to the government of Uganda and partners, we have such good regimens in Uganda that if you take them as per the doctor's recommendations, you are able to live a normal life. Right. Nobody would know that you have HIV and AIDS, so you would continue to be productive and contribute to the economy of Uganda.
1.4 is the number, 1.4 million, beg your pardon, is the number that we know of, that UNAIDS has, in its records of people who already have HIV and AIDS. How about the majority who even don't know they're infected?
Yes, and those are the ones that we're trying to reach now.
Through campaigns like this
through
one.
campaigns like the Boxing. Boxing offers that platform where we disseminate information, and also we offer and also we offer services such as testing, so that even those who are fans of the sport of boxing can also get tested, know their status, and then we put them on treatment so that they become like everyone else, and they become healthy. They continue living a healthy life. And in addition to that, we also offer other prevention services such as circumcision. Other than just supporting UBF with resources, we have also come in with other partners that are offering these other services. For instance, the Infectious Disease Institute, popularly known as just IDI. We also have AIDS Information Center, who collaborate also with Uganda Boxing Federation to offer other services. Of late, we have also linked Uganda Boxing Federation with the private sector through the $1 initiative. So you can see the boxing sport has opened up, and different partners have come in to ensure that not just boxers are protected from HIV and AIDS, but even their fans also access HIV and AIDS services.
So if we have the fans coming through, those with the talent that are coming through to be a part of all of this, when did it start? When did the Boxing Federation decide to be a part of this? And also, how often does it happen?
Yeah, we set out this kind of campaign, I think, early last year. But there are so many bureaucracies, so the actual implementation of the board maybe towards the end of the year. But then the other question was about
how often does it happen?
Yeah, we're doing this almost every month. We have an activation, either in the ring that collects people together, then also can also do outreaches as well. We just go meet coaches, meet boxers, meet their fans, and talk to them and engage them. And like you just told, you have so many other partners coming on board now. And in a way, we want to make like an ecosystem whereby you don't just talk about HIV, but you also need to hope this will get economically sound. Because people, like the ladies who are here, maybe they're doing prostitution because they are not economically sound. So that's how the private sector comes in. You talk about HIV, help people to get empowerment economically, then also socially, then before you know it, the whole vice is gone.
Okay, interesting. And you did mention that also boxers are vulnerable with regards to them easily. They can actually easily get these infections because it is what it is. You box someone, it's bloody and stuff like that.
Yeah, there's vulnerability. One in the ring, as you're either training or you're doing sparring with someone, and you're going to get cut and you expose yourself. But also, once you become a champion in the ring, then you're a local champion. So you go back home, every girl wants to be with you before you know it.
That's celebs.
I like that you're honest. So someone then would ask, how bad was the situation? Do you have any statistics that maybe point out to the problem itself of how many boxers were actually, found to be infected with HIV and AIDS?
Yeah, we have so far gone phase 1, which was about opinion leaders to really like sensitize them. But the actual one we've done was for the recent championship, the National Opens, and we had about 500 boxers coming for the championship, and out of them about 2 were found to be infected with HIV. Right. But then we were able to circumcise about like 48 of them because they weren't circumcised. They're fans of boxing. So what happens is, the actual boxers, they may not be at risk as much as the HIV infection is, but the people around them, because what happens is, because the boxer is athletic, I mean, you're healthy, you're minding about your health and all these things, but the next person after you is in this ghetto community where you have so many people in an uncredited place, same thing is possible.
Let me just say one or two things, adding to what Moses has just said. Yes, the boxers may not be infected now, but you see, one of our objectives of the prevention program is to ensure that people who are HIV negative remain HIV negative.
Correct.
And that's why we are targeting that particular subgroup. Again, also you see that, I think as he said, when you look at the profile of most of the boxers, they come from no well-to-do areas, and these areas, most of them are hard to reach, so they don't have access to services that perhaps you and I would have access to. So boxing is a platform for them to get these services. Let me also just share with you some statistics on HIV in Uganda, especially when it comes to new HIV infections. About 1,000 people get infected in Uganda every week. So when you look at busloads of people that get infected, you know how many buses are those?
Right.
Put it that way. So still there's a problem, even though we have treatment and we have people in treatment, and when we people in treatment, people live, but when they're here, they live normal lives. Still, HIV is a problem. Remember, once you are put on treatment, that treatment is lifetime treatment.
Right.
You don't stop; you take it for the rest of your life. So think of the burden of taking the drugs and everything. So you see that it's still better to remain HIV negative, and that's why we're working with the boxers.
You mentioned something which is very key, that about 1,000 people per week end up get HIV and AIDS.
There's also another interesting one, that out of Uganda has about 1.4 million people that are living with HIV, and out of those, about 450 are men, and then men are dying more of HIV because they don't want to know about their statuses. They are scared to go and do the testing to know what's happening with them. So they know that. So because of that, they can't access treatment and care. And then the threat is high in men. And then most men are doing the sports of boxing. So you see how now it works out.
Yes, it does.
Out of so many men, you don't know HIV status, then you're doing the sport, then you can easily now start exposing other people.
Yeah. So as you expose, I know that you are in a field where it's mostly the youth. And right now we live in a country, from what we have heard and what we've known as of this year, that more youth are okay getting HIV and AIDS than getting pregnant. They would rather have HIV and AIDS. So let's talk about the youth and their reception to all of this.
It has been a welcome idea because everyone is excited about it, because it talks about their well-being, and then they are packaging the message, because they're saying it doesn't make any sense for you to live when you don't know what's inside your body. It doesn't make any sense for you to, because whether you know it or not, either way, once you have the virus, you have it. So we're trying to make sure people get to understand the need for them to understand statuses, and henceforth seeking attention. If you're HIV infected, then there's care for you, and that's what you have. Actually, that's why we are so much happy about them, because after you knowing the status, then there's the next point. There's so many partners willing to help you. If you're HIV positive, there are other people living with HIV willing to come and do counseling for you. And then we as a federation, we again support you. You don't have to be a boxer, you can be an administrator, you can be a coach, you can be something else. So either way, you're not ignored, you're kept into the system, but now you know your status, you can access medicine. And once you can access, you can suppress the virus. And once you suppress, then you can live longer. So the whole campaign is 100% of benefit to whoever is listening to it. And we're taking it beyond just Kampala, because the first phase was in Kampala region. Now we're going to be covering the whole country, so that every Ugandan is exposed to this kind of message. But of course, apart from that, there's also the good side of it. Because boxing has been Uganda's #1 sport for all these years, because Uganda has won 47 medals from the World Games, and boxing has claimed 35 of them. So it's a popular sport on ground.
Okay, all right. Mr. Chikoko, you know, we were having this conversation a few weeks ago, and we even brought in young people just to get their views, and we even took the question to the public, and we got a lot of feedback on social media. And the question has been, raw or not? You're coughing. Raw or not?
Yes.
And over 90% were saying raw.
Really?
This is the reality on the ground. Young people prefer now to have sex without protecting themselves. Still with the efforts that you and AIDS, together with other partners, and even UBF coming on board, you are making a lot of efforts to try and change the perception, but still it seems like the public is not getting it.
Yes.
Where could the gap be?
See, behavior change takes time. It doesn't happen overnight. And what needs to be done is not to get discouraged. So we'll continue disseminating information using all sorts of platforms that are available in the country. Uganda has a very supportive environment. There's both political will at all levels, and we also have the technical expertise in the country to ensure that we craft targeted interventions aimed at addressing such gaps. Yes, there is a problem of a little bit of misinformation amongst young people, but using platforms like boxing, we are reaching to young people to address such gaps. I think you may recall during the National Boxing Championships, you saw young people talking to young people. You saw Stigmaless Band led by Moses Supercharger was there, packaging messages and disseminating them to young people. So we need to put our efforts together and clear that misconception that getting pregnant is worse than getting HIV. Let's remember the burden. Yes, you get HIV and you'll be put on the drugs, but that's for the rest of your life. That's for the rest of your life, and it's not really an enjoyable experience taking medications every day.
I think that from this morning, one thing that I'm learning is that wherever you are, you have an opportunity to help stop this. To help stop.
The first thing you need to do is know your status.
Yes.
Every single person. Once you know your status, it gives you the next action point. Either you go for attention for medication or you stay living healthy. So that's the most important thing that we need to push out.
And how often do you recommend that the people that come for these events get tested?
Every single time we're having an event, we offer free HIV testing services.
So if one youth maybe came for one of them and the next one maybe is in another place altogether, what do you leave with these people to know that you need to go back, you need to test,
we have a medical commission that's always doing these outreaches. Almost every 3 months, you're always following up with these people, those who are doing active boxing and then the funds. So every 3 months we have an outreach program, and then this is why we need support actually from partners like them, because this means you need some resources to keep on doing this and engaging them, which we are doing right now.
So any last words?
Let me just add to that to say, on your question on the frequency of testing, let me say that the Ministry of Health introduced the screening tool, which assesses your risk and if you need a test, and also it takes into account the last time that you tested. Remember, we're talking about targeted testing. It's not just testing everyone, but those exposed and at high risk of contracting HIV. So when you test, and let me also point out here that the government of Uganda introduced a policy called test and treat, which means that when you test and you test positive, you are started on ARVs immediately.
Okay.
Yep.
All right, so you're confident that by 2030, that's the target, we're going to have reached the 90-90-90 target?
Well, Uganda is on track. Let me just clarify here. The 90-90-90 targets are to be reached by 2020.
Okay.
2030, when you read the Presidential Fast Track Initiative, the goal is to end AIDS in Uganda by
completely.
2030, completely. So in terms of the 2020 targets, the country is on track in reaching those 90-90-90s. Where we seem to be, lagging behind a bit is on the third 90, which is the viral suppression. And people are already working on that, because we have noticed that we are losing some people in terms of when it comes to retaining them in care and treatment. So measures have already been introduced to address that gap, so that we do on all the 390s.
Okay.
So if you ask me today, is Uganda going to reach 90-90-90s by 2020? My answer, based on the progress made so far, is yes, we'll try to reach 90-90.
So some good news. Now, for the people that are watching, just in summary, that one thing you need everyone to know as of now, from you, Mr. Trouble, and also from Mr. Mwanji.
Okay, starting with me is go out there, get tested, and if you test positive, seek care and treatment services. If you test negative, it's not the end of the story. Make sure that you remain negative.
Okay.
Thank you.
Mr. Muhanji also pointed to if boxing, I'm sure this is a question that you're getting on social media, boxing, does it pay? Because we are tying the economic situation to, of course, the prevalence of HIV and AIDS.
Yes, boxing pays huge sums because the richest athlete is a boxer. It's called Floyd Mayweather. He earns about $300 million a year. He does 2 fights a year.
Does it pay in Uganda?
Yeah, it does if you're doing the right thing, if you're under the proper systems, because what happens in all sports, boxing is the shortest way for you to make it international stadium. Because what happens is, if you're a boxer, you can easily go to the Olympics. Once you're in the Olympics, then you can easily become a world champion. Once you're a world champion, you have a boxer called Bogerere. He made it through the same system, through boxing. Now he's with Mayweather, because he had the fight last week, and he had a fan base of about 350 million people watching him boxing. So it's the shortest way to make money. It's just that you need proper nurturing and then proper systems to follow. Yeah, my last word is simple. We need all to go out there, know our status of HIV, know what's happening within our bodies, whether you're a boxer, whether you're just a normal citizen in Uganda, you need to get to know your status like yesterday.
Right.
Once you know it, then you know what to do thereafter. If you're a cameraman, yeah, you need to go and know your HIV status. It's very important.
Yeah. So let's.
And then we box HIV out of Uganda together.
Yes, let's do this. HIV out of Uganda, but the worrying thing is that we have 1,000 infections every single week. So let's be deliberate about getting tested. Even if you're married, I always tell my peers this, just go get tested as frequently as possible. You and your spouse, very important. It's about your life and you seeing your great-grandchildren. You have the power in your arms. So let's have that conversation. The hashtag will always be #morning@10TV. Thank you so much, Mr. Muhanji Moses, the president of UBF, the Uganda Boxing Federation, and also Mr. Trouble Chikoko, the investment and efficiency advisor at UNAIDS. Thank you so much, gentlemen, for joining us this morning. Don't go too far. Morning at 10TV still continues.
Are you dreaming of longer and thicker hair? Or of long and natural eyelashes? Try Placent Active Hair Growth products that are suitable for both natural and relaxed hair. Available at all the biggest pharmacies and beauty shops.